Hi everybody, welcome to week 3, module 3. This week is all about motivation. One of the goals of organizational behavior, and one thing a leader tries to do, is influence people's behavior. So ideally, we want our people to be motivated, willing to exert effort towards the organization's goals, and that's part of our job as leaders, is to create that environment. So this week we're going to look at motivation both from the perspective of theories about trying to understand, figure out what makes people willing to exert effort towards their goals or organization goals. So some of the theories focus on values people have. Some of the theories focus on what we think is the process that people go through, deciding whether or not to exert effort. And then there's another chapter that looks at how can we create a workplace and characteristics in a job that increases the likelihood that people will be motivated and willing to exert effort. So unfortunately, motivation is not something you can do to somebody. You can try to create an environment where people are willing to exert effort. And then our journal this week is about leading with courage. So you've got some resource materials on that topic. Great job with your humble leadership journals. Many of you are already working as humble leaders and did a great job reflecting on your experience. Okay, so our discussion this week is based on rewards. How do we create a reward system that motivates and encourages the behavior we're looking for? Okay, so think about that when you're doing this activity. So this is an exercise at the end of chapter 5. Basically, here are the instructions. You've got a $12,000 bonus to give to a team that recently met a deadline. So good performing team, they met their goal. How are you going to allocate the $12,000 across the team members? How much does each person get? Okay, so tell me what's the process you're going to use and why. Okay, so what's the explanation? And then what specific concepts from chapters 5 and 6 will explain and support your choice? What theories or concepts can you use to explain your prediction that your method of allocating the rewards will lead to future desired behavior performance? Okay, so be sure, again, I noted this after the assignments in week 1. I'm trying to, in the assignments and your response, make sure that you understand the theories and the concepts from the assigned readings for the module, and that you're able to apply them to a leadership situation. So be sure that you're using concepts and theories from the chapter in your responses. Okay, so this is a discussion board, so do your initial post, try to do by Wednesday, and then respond to 2 others. Okay, so your individual assignment this week is using the job characteristics model. And so this is a model that looks at characteristics of a job. Okay, so in what situations, what kind of jobs can we create that should be motivating to our employees? So the job characteristics model is one of these. So describe, so first of all, I'm going to ask you about your own job. How motivating is it? Right? Does it include any of these concepts? 2, explain the ways the organization tries to motivate you, evaluate the effectiveness of the current reward system, and then make some recommendations. Okay, so in number 1, what I'd like you to do is basically go through each of the core job characteristics. Does your job, and you can use student or athlete if you're not doing a work for pay right now, does your job entail, do you have variety? Do you have identity? Do you complete a full service or product? Do you feel that what you're doing is important? Do you have freedom to make decisions about how you do your work? And then do you get feedback from doing the work itself? So jobs that have these characteristics should lead to employees feeling that what they do is meaningful, they feel responsible for their outcomes, and they know how they do, which leads to all these positive outcomes. Now, the moderators This is kind of the, what situations will this work? If an individual has the knowledge and skill they need to do the job, they are someone who wants to grow and develop and has a need for achievement, and that the context in which they're working is good enough, right? It's not too dangerous, it's not too dirty, I get enough pay that I can worry about being motivated with my job. So that's the individual assignment for this week. And then finally, your journal, again, is looking at the extent to which you act and speak with courage. So take a look at the resources and the materials. Tell me about a time when you had the courage to act, a time when you did not have the courage to act. Identify at least one way that you will use your courage muscle in the future. And then how can you encourage others to be more courageous? So I do want to say having the courage to act can be, doesn't have to be a situation of life or death or you're in war, and that's how we tend to think of courage. Okay, courage can be speaking up in a meeting when you've never been one to speak up before. Okay, can be raising an objection when you feel that a poor decision is being made. So it doesn't have to be a huge, risky kind of courage. Okay, it can be something personal. You don't like to give presentations, and you're going to give a presentation on behalf of your team. Okay, so think about that. Again, incorporate what your reflection on, your learning from the resources and the materials as you reflect and apply this idea of acting and speaking with courage to your own leadership. So have a good week.